Oh, this is a bit super freaking close, man. What the hell? Ugh. There we go. That looks a bit better. Ugh. I apologize for that. But yeah, this video will be titled "Why I Do Rows Incorrectly" or "Rows of Perfect Form." I don't know where the hell to go with this, man. I'm just happy I got this shit working. Alright, so I actually never performed a proper bent over row or a proper setup for a T-bar row for a consistent portion in the vast majority of my weightlifting journey. Now, why that is, I will come up to that. I promise. Less than 30 minutes, hopefully, if I don't ramble enough. If I don't ramble about irrelevant shit, hopefully. But yeah, the catalyst for this video was actually sparked from speaking to someone at the gym in regards to rows, specifically bent over rows. Now, I, alongside a fellow knuckleheaded weightlifter of mine, don't perform this movement with from a conventional standpoint of having the body leaning at 45 degrees. Instead, it is performed more in a 30-degree angle. The comment of the person was, of course, my buddy and I, the way we perform these rows, right? You guys are ego lifting. I, of course, brushed it off as a friendly, just a friendly J-mate heckling because I don't take myself too seriously. And I also appreciate the opinion of this person because it sparked an interesting topic. In all honesty, this movement performed, in this unorthodox fashion, right? I performed this movement in an unorthodox fashion, like I always do this shit. I love bending my body at 30 degrees as opposed to 45 degrees, right? Because it feels natural to me. However, the only comment I remember saying in my defense, I couldn't, because I almost forgot why I did it, like on spot, but I knew why I did, but I had to really think and collect my thoughts, because when you're in the moment, you don't really think, especially when you're in the gym. You're not in the gym for mental gymnastics or mental debates or some sort of mental heckling or some sort of educated debate about philosophy, right? You're in the gym for physicality. It's your primal physical state. So you're not very philosophical. You're not very argumentative. And my defense to that was, nah, I'm just trying to target my lats more, right? Now, prior to this comment, the person said, the way you guys do it targets the upper body and, targets the upper back more. And I immediately had the most sinister grin on my face because that was one of the initial reasons why I performed rows in this fashion, right? Now, on to the meat and potatoes of why I always perform rows in the way I described. It all started back in 2020 when I watched a YouTuber by the name of Jason Gallant from Gallant Bodybuilding. He had a video describing how he performs rowing movements, and he does them with serious weight. But if you observe his form, he's not performing this movement pattern at a 45-degree angle. It's at a steep 30-degree angle. Now, why is that exactly? So, well, he explained it thoroughly in a video that I will link, but my bastardized version of his well put together explanation is, while you cannot exactly isolate a portion of the back with a row because it's a compound movement that incorporates the totality of the back to work, you can place great emphasis on your lats via rowing at an angle that is not too far down or not too upright. In other words, this isn't exactly a Yates row, although it is very reminiscent of a Yates row. If you examine the way Dorian Yates performed rows, it was often with an underhanded grip at a 30-degree angle. This is where I must agree with Jason's comment regarding rows, about rows not, his rows are not exactly Yates row because Jason Gallant performs them with an overhanded grip. Because of this, I'm tempted to call them Gallant rows as a means of paying homage to not only Jason Gallant, but the Gallant bodybuilding philosophy as a whole. Now, what is this philosophy, you ask? It's a philosophy of deviating from traditional means of the broader consensus regarding how certain movement patterns ought to be performed. Said traditional means do not take into account of a person's goal, structural disposition, or past injuries. In my case, traditional bent over rows absolutely destroy my lower back. Hell, man, hence I selected T-bar rows as my bread and butter back mass builder, because I initially tried to perform bent over rows, but man, I was getting fucked up. Like my lower back was taking a significant beating, so I selected T-bar rows as a result. However, in the fall of 2020, I yearned for bigger lats, and I was looking for rowing variations that weren't similar to the mechanics of a T-bar row because it would be redundant. A traditional bent over row at a 45-degree angle is just that. It's an excellent mass builder. It's fucking incredible. You can build a nice back when you're performing this movement at a 45-degree angle and you're building the back in totality, right? Yes, it's awesome. It's an excellent mass builder, but it just doesn't fit congruently with my goals of larger lats. And before someone says it, yes, I know traditional rows target lats as well. Duh, it's a compound movement, no shit. But I wanted a movement that placed a greater emphasis on the lats. As a result, gallant rows or bent over rows at 30 degrees served the purpose of lat training without taxing the hell out of my lower back. And traditional bent over rows do just that. They tax the hell out of your lower back, and sadly, the response from most people in regards to that is, oh, just strengthen your core, bro. Fantastic idea, my lads, but what did you consider, but did you ever consider the length of time it takes to get a strong-ass fucking core? Just to abide by your arbitrary Bible standard of performing rows at 45 degrees as a means of getting massive lats, like via like some byproduct. So your goal is to get bigger lats, but in order to get bigger lats, you have to perform bent over rows at 45 degrees. But in order to perform bent over rows at 45 degrees, you have to get stronger core. What the fuck? So why not just skip the entire middleman and just like if such a prerequisite is required, right? Why should I just skip that and select a variation of the movement that will target my lats more? Exactly, it makes no fucking sense. So yeah, and while I don't mind taking the time to acquire these things by putting in time and effort, but yeah, like how about I skip your prerequisite of developing a strong core in order to perform your conventional exercise and select a movement that places a larger emphasis on the lats by performing said movement. So this movement in question will be the gallant rows. Why not bypass all that shit and simply select the gallant rows to target my lats more? Now, of course, the response to this question is the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room here is bent over rows at 30 degrees don't look as sexy as 45 degrees. Yeah, like, that's why the person points it out, you know, the way my friend and I were doing the rows, oh, you know, like it looks goofy, you guys are ego lifting. Now, ego lifting by definition is breaking form in order to break, so you're breaking form in order to move more weight. However, the weight that I perform with these gallant rows, it's bitch weight, it's baby weight. It's barely even so I slap 45 plates on each side, then I slap a 25, right? And if I'm feeling good, maybe I slap a like 35 on each side. Well, it's like 205 pounds for reps of 8 to 10. That's baby weight. Like you're doing bitch weight. And yeah, so the elephant in the room here is bent over rows at 30 degrees don't look as sexy as 45 degrees. And to this I must say, who gives a fuck about how you look while performing a movement? As long as you're not deep throwing the cable roll accessory like the chicks do in those shitty TikTok videos for clicks, you are fine. There are plenty of idiots at the gym who train much worse than you do. However, it's ultimately not about them. It's about you the person. Now, like, how do you feel while you train? How do you feel internally? What portion of the muscles are being are being ignited when you train? Right? It doesn't matter what Joe Schmo in the cut thinks about how the fuck you look. No, like when you're trying to parallel, do you feel it in your legs? When you're rolling, do you feel it in your lats? When you're doing your French presses, your overhead tricep extensions, do you feel it in your goddamn triceps? Even if you lean back a bit, like, how do you feel internally? Like, do you get tendonitis? No, it's about how you personally feel. Now, as far as the T-bar rows are concerned, right, I was told by the same person who I mentioned at the beginning half of the video to perform them by loading the bar with smaller plates. And we all know this, right? You load the bar with small plates in order to get a deeper stretch and a greater range of motion. My exact response to this statement was, then I'm going to be known as a jackass who grabbed all 25-pound plates. and of course, we both laughed about that because when I perform these T-bar rows, right, like I'm loading a lot of weight. And yes, now, but like I'm gonna put a video of me doing that, right? And I already know the fuss, like you guys are gonna say whatever. Oh man, like he's using a lot of legs. Oh my goodness, this is not strict. It's not strict rowing movement, right? Yes, leg drive is used when I perform T-bar rows, and they can be performed strictly to the point where you have zero leg drive. But at that point, I have to be the snide jackass to point out that leg drive is used in everyone's favorite compound movement known as the bench press. Yeah. on Mondays, right? We love the leg drive because it promotes a nice rhythm and a proper foundation is the catalyst of our powers to perform these big movements. And I'd argue that grounding my feet on the ground helped me, like allow me to stray away from like having my ass like lean upwards, like like during a bench press, because my feet are so planted to the ground evenly and distributed in a certain fashion. I'm not dragging my fucking hips up, whatever, like while I'm benching, and my ass is not elevating the fucking air, so I'm not fucking myself up. So yeah, leg drive helps me in a similar fashion when performing a lift from the floor. It forces me to lift the body in proper harmony. So yeah, like I do perform these rows, like yeah, it's a lift from the fucking floor. And we always say lift with our legs, right? And now lastly, on to the final reason why I never give a shit about placing smaller plates on the T-bar row in order to get those extra inches of range of motion, right? So look at this machine at the old gym that I used to use, right? It's a T-bar rowing machine with an underbelly support that allows the lifter to stress away. So this machine allows you to take stress away from your lower back because it has an underbelly support. Notice how the pattern looks very, very similar to how I perform rows over here, right? Now, of course, the video, the thumbnail that I'm going to point to how I perform the rows, the T-bar rows, whatever, right? Well, it won't be part of the thumbnail, right? Like it's a shitty video, right? But the movement patterns are very, very similar, and I'm using a lot of my legs are incorporated in the movement, right? So it's a T-bar rowing machine with an underbelly support that takes stress away from your lower back, right? While performing the movement. But look how it's built. It prevents you from getting those extra inches in the movement. But despite this, I managed to build an excellent foundation, and overall, I managed to build an excellent back with this movement because I use it in a manner that accommodated my anthropology and goals. And it looks very reminiscent to how I perform T-bar rows at the current gym that I do now. It looks like it's almost a one-to-one comparison, but I would argue that the T-bar row off the floor, much better variation because I really felt the contraction much more, like forcing the body to actually to have like a proper grip. Like when you're gripping the bar from the fucking ground, and your spine has to be at a certain alignment. Like it forces your back to fire up those extra muscles. It's as if like my back was forced to work twice as hard because of course I didn't have the underbelly support. The underbelly support prevented me from getting extra deep ranges of motion. However, the underbelly support also prevented me from fucking my damn spine up, right? Now, when it was taken away, I followed a similar movement pattern in which I was lifting with my legs, but I ended up developing my back to a greater extent by doing that. So that's why I never gave a shit about putting smaller plates on the bar to get those extra ranges of motion. I also never cared about performing strict barbell rows. Because cheating can be defined as, or breaking the form can be defined as when you're starting off very, very strict, and you end up decaying over time, gradually to the point where you're just injuring yourself. And that's never how I usually start out. Like if I'm gonna start out with moderate weight, and I'm gonna control the eccentric, I'm gonna do that throughout the entire movement. If my form starts to degrade, then I decide, okay, that's it. I failed the movement. I'm done. I'm gonna wait a minute and a half or 2 minutes for the next set, and I lather, rinse, repeat. And lastly, barbell rows performed at 30 degrees. It's not ego lifting. If you're performing that to target a specific portion of the actual body more, it's not ego lifting by definition. You're just trying to target the body in a more effective pattern. And that's it, guys. Hopefully this video is rendered correctly and doesn't fuck up. I'm gonna probably have to edit a lot more to. Oh man, I love making videos, but I hate making videos because sometimes they come out great, sometimes they don't come out great, and I have to really just lather, rinse, repeat. I'm still a baby at this. Hopefully this works. All right, guys, peace.
Choose your fighter.